Jason, how are you?
Yes, sir. I'm well. All things considered. Yeah. You?
I'm doing well. But the big thing for me is the hair is out of control now. And
I feel like I got to match it there. Like
look at that. Yeah, you got a lot going on too.
Might as well. If we're both going to do it, let's do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I have.
I feel like we've done this before. I don't expect you to remember that because you've talked to a lot of people, but I've only.
I've talked to a lot of people, and I'm also a sociopath who has no recollection of my human interactions. Let me begin, Jason, by praising your show. I binge watched the entire season, and I loved it. And I watched it with my son, and we were both just completely loving. I love the character of Ted Lasso. It's really fantastic.
Thanks, man. That means the absolute world to me. I'm so flattered, and I love that you watched it with your son. That's great.
Yeah. What's so nice is we're in this dark time. And what I'm responding to is the show is really funny, but also the character of Ted Lasso is so optimistic that I sort of feel like he's the hero we need right now. That's what I'm taking away from the show. Like, that's the guy who I think can get me through COVID.
I appreciate that. I mean, what's crazy to me is the fact that there's an argument to be made that maybe we could have used this guy, 4 or 5 years ago too. Maybe we would, but right. But like this whole idea was conceived, at least for the show, in 2015. Yeah. And my joke had been, leading up to the show finally, existing, much less premiering, is the big pill you had to swallow as far as the high concept of it being like a show about a guy. Who could ever believe a show about a guy who has no idea what he's doing being in charge of something as important as a professional soccer team? And like now nobody, everybody's just like, yeah, this is great. This is exactly like nobody cares. Like nobody brings that up.
You're trying to set that the stakes are really high, that he's taking over a mediocre professional, soccer team in England. And by today's standards, that's absolutely nothing.
It's like,
we'll let that go. I love the show.